So today's class will be on the general classification of basic sounds. So,
Yes,
so you can see that at the front page, I have written the three words hum, right?
yes,
So this has a very great significance, and especially the word om. The word om has a very great significance in the Indian Buddhist tradition as well as Indian philosophy. So the word om is actually the primordial sign or the primordial sound. So what does it mean is that during the beginning, or according to few philosophy, during the beginning of the universe, it began with the sound om. So therefore, it is considered to be the origin of all sounds or mother of all sounds, which is om. So therefore, I have especially written this on the front of this book. And the reason I have written om ahum is for the aspiration, because om ahum refers om ahum refers to the body, mind, and speech, and the purification of the body, mind, and speech. And so, as an aspiration that with this teaching that we will be going forward, we aspire to purify our body, mind, and speech with the teaching of this of the teaching that we're going to receive. So, and you see that at the bottom we have the letter ki, right? And this is
yes,
to symbolize the lesson that we're going to do today, which is about the two type of basic sounds, which is the vowel and the consonant. Okay, so now what are basic sounds? So in Tibetan language, what we do is that in Tibetan language we have the construction of word. So the construction of word and sentence begins with the two types of basic sounds that we use in Tibetan. The first type of the basic sound, or these basic sound in Tibetan, is called yigi. Yigi, and these basic sounds, the yigi, as we see, are the foundation of all the word and sentences that we use in Tibetan. We will be talking about the words later in different topic. Today, our focus is mainly on the basic sounds. So whenever we have a basic sound, we can classify the basic sound on the basis of the basic sound having a complete meaning by itself, or a basic sound which does not have a complete meaning by itself. A basic sound that has a complete meaning by themselves are also a basic sound and also a word. For example, we have the word sa.
yeah,
Sa is a basic sound, and it is also a word in itself. The word sa means earth. So we see that when we are writing the word sa, itself is making a meaning, isn't it?
yes,
So not every basic sound has this property. For example, the basic sound ta. It is a basic sound, but it doesn't have a meaning of its own when we are writing the ta alone or by itself. So when we are using different words in Tibetan, what we do is that we combine these different type of basic sounds, and then we make something called a word. And then later we will also talk about different types of words. Okay, so now in Tibetan, the basic sounds are called yigi, and yigi, or basic sound, is classified in two groups, the yang and silche. So yang, also known as vowels, the direct translation of the word yang means melody. So by the direct translation, we will understand a little bit about what is the actual function of this vowel. And silche, the direct translation of the word silche, means the one which clarifies, or one which makes clear. So here the translations are used as vowel and consonants. So these are the two basic classification of basic sounds. Now, what are yang or vowel? So we see that yang or the vowel or the basic melody or basic sounds, by itself cannot be written nor can be used in Tibetan language. You cannot use the yang by itself, and you cannot, there isn't a meaning for the yang itself. It is something that is used as an ornament on silche. So it's an ornament which is used on silche, by the use of which the yang is capable of changing or manipulating the sound of a silche. So these silche, these yang as we see, these yang, the vowel as we see, are of two types. There are 4 apparent vowels and 1 non-apparent vowel. So one must understand that this non-apparent vowel is something that is non-apparent not only by the sound, it is non-apparent also as a form. It is attached to each and every one of the Tibetan consonant, but we don't write it separately. First thing. And the second thing is that we don't have, the thing is that we know that it is changing a sound, but we don't find it very apparent or very noticeable that it is changing a sound. So the actual language or the actual language of Tibetan that we're using now is derived from the Indian language, where the Indian language has all the different alphabets. So Indian language has alphabets, and these alphabets were adopted in Tibetan. But the difference was that with all of the alphabet of Indian language, there was addition of this non-apparent vowel, which is a. So therefore, when in Indian alphabet we say k, in Tibetan alphabet it becomes ka. In Indian alphabet, when it is k, in Tibetan alphabet it becomes ka. In Indian alphabet it is g, in Tibetan alphabet it becomes ka. So you see that the sound is changing. There is a difference in the sound, and this difference of sound comes from the usage of the non-apparent vowel, which is with all of these 30 consonants. But this is non-apparent because we don't write it differently. When we write ka, we only write the consonant. We don't write a at the side. So therefore it is non-apparent in form, but it is depicting in the sound, which is ka. It becomes ka from k. But still, since most of us don't know that the actual sound should be like k, it is non-apparent in sound also. So therefore, this is called non-apparent vowel. In non-apparent in form and non-apparent in sound. So the other 4 vowels, which are kiku, shabkyu, tengbo, naro, these four vowels are known as the apparent vowel. Because they're apparent in form, we see that when these vowels are used or added as an ornament to a consonant, we see that they have different form. We see that kigu has a form which is added on any consonant. And we can see the form of kigu. And we see that the change in the sound is also very apparent. So, kigu. So, the second one is shabkyu. Shabkyu, shab means from the below or the feet. Kyu means hooked or bent. So a bent feet, a feet that is bent. Dembo, because it is straight, Dembo means being straight. Since this vowel, the form of this vowel is like a straight line, therefore it's called Dembo. And narrow means stretched shape. Since the form of this vowel is like a stretched shape, therefore it's called narrow. So these are the name of these vowels. The sound of these vowels, the first one is E. The second one is U. The third one is A. And the last one is O. So the first sound is E. The second one is U. The third one is A. And the final one is O. So when we add these vowels to a consonant, for example, we have ka. When we add E to ka, it becomes ki. When we add U to ka, it becomes ku. When we add A to ka, it becomes ke. And when we add O to ka, it becomes ko. So similarly, you can add these vowels as an ornament to all of the consonants. And when we add them, just as the name itself depicts, it is a sound which is like a melody, what it does is that it changes the sound of the consonant to which it is ornamented or to which it is added. And the non-apparent vowel a is also known as the mother word or the root word, because it is with each and every one of the consonants. It is non-apparent with sound and form, but it is always added to each and every one of the consonants. So therefore, it is also called the mother word or mother sound or the root sound. And this is also by this word, the a. According to the Indian philosophy, this is also known as the sound of creation, the sound a. Okay, so these are the two different types of vowels: the four apparent vowels and the one non-apparent vowel. Okay, so we see that these four apparent vowels have their own different form. As we see here, the first one is kiku. It is said that the shape of kiku has to be like the thumb of a virtuous being. So when we look at the shape of the thumb of a virtuous being or someone who has practiced dharma for a long time, it is said that the shape of their thumb is like the shape of kiku. The shapyu looks like a hook. It is said that the shapyu looks like a hook, which is written upside down. The dengbo looks like a stick, which is straight. Narrow looks like the wings of a bird. So these are the different shapes or different form of the four apparent vowels. Okay, now moving on to the second type of the basic sounds, we call them consonants or silche. So the word silche itself means the one which clarifies. So we see here, it says that the consonants are basic sounds that clarifies the meaning of the word when there is addition of vowel. So we must understand that the clarification of meaning is the clarification of meaning with the addition of vowel. So when we are saying there is an addition of vowel, we must understand that when we are talking about vowel, we not only mean the four apparent vowel, we also mean the one non-apparent vowel, which is a, which is always with each and every one of those 30 consonants. So when the consonants are added to these vowel, what the consonant does is that it gives meaning to that structure. What vowel does is that it only changes the sound. It doesn't give any meaning to the structure that is formed by the addition of a consonant and a vowel. So in the two parts of a word, which can be a vowel and a consonant, a vowel only manipulates a sound, whereas the consonant is the one which actually clarifies a meaning. So, for example, if we have a word that is chu, so the word chu means water. The word that actually gives us the meaning of the word water is not the vowel, but the consonant cha. So here we see that the basic consonants, there are 30 basic consonants, and they are divided into 7.5 groups, with each group containing 4 different basic sounds. So each group contains 4 different basic sounds, with the last one containing only 2. So we see that these 7.5 different groups starts from the group of ka, known as kade, group of cha, known as chade, group of ta, known as tade, group of pa, known as pade, group of tsa, known as tsade, group of sha, known as shade, group of ra, known as rade, and group of ha, known as hade. We see that the name of the groups are taken from the first sound of each group. And each of these groups contains 4 different sounds, which together makes up these 30 consonants. We will learn later that each of these consonants, we see that we will later learn that even the consonants can be divided into 4 different groups. And then we will understand that after that, we will learn that there are things like words, and there are 2 different types of words, which we will learn later. And from this, we will start the foundation of Tibetan grammar. So this lesson that we're doing today, which is the basic classification of basic sound, is not only the foundation of Tibetan language or Tibetan, it is not only the foundation of Tibetan writing system, but this is also the foundation of Tibetan reading system, and it can also be understood as a gate to understanding the Tibetan tradition and Tibetan people. So here we have the 30 consonants, and I will recite each of them. So the first one is ka, ka, ka. The second one is ka, ka, ka. The third one is ka, ka, ka. And the fourth one is nga, nga, nga. So the second group, the first one is cha, cha, cha. The second one is cha, cha, cha. The third one is cha, cha, cha. And the fourth one is nya, nya, nya. The third group, the first one is ta, ta, ta. The second one is ta, ta, ta. The third one is ta, ta, ta. And the final one is na, na, na. The fourth group, first one is pa, pa, pa. The second one is pa, pa, pa. The third one is pa, pa, pa. And the final one is ma, ma, ma. Okay, now the fifth group. The first one is za, za, za. The second one is ca, ca, ca. Third one is za, za, za. The final one is wa, wa, wa. The sixth group, first one is sha, sha, sha. The second one is sa, sa, sa. The third one is ha, ha, ha. And the final one is ya, ya, ya. The seventh group, first one is ra, ra, ra. The second one is la, la, la. The third one is sha, sha, sha. The final one is sa, sa, sa. Okay, now the final group. The first one is ha, ha, ha. And the final one is ah, ah, ah. So I will be uploading a video with each one of them. I will be uploading another video where I will show each one of them on a single page, and I will recite each of these ones, each of these basic sounds, so you can listen carefully to each of the sounds. So you see that here, even though we see that there are 8 groups, we call it 7.5. And the reason we are calling it 7.5 is because each of the groups should contain 4 sounds. So we see that the final group, which is the hade, it only contains 2 sounds, which is half of 4. And therefore we call it a half group. And so in total, the Tibetan has 7.5 group of consonant. Okay, so these are consonant, and all of these consonant, as we see, have becomes the foundation of a name or a word, meaning they themselves will have a certain meaning when they're added with either other consonant or with other vowels. And some of these consonant, as we see, already have a meaning of them all for their own when they're added with the vowel a. For example, the word ka. Here we see the word ka. It's the construction made by the consonant k and the vowel a, and it becomes ka. So this construction ka is also a word which means mouth. And then we have the construction which is nga, which is the construction made from the consonant ng and the vowel a, the non-apparent vowel a, and it becomes nga, which means I. So you see that some of these, without addition of any extra ornament of vowel, which is the apparent vowel, and ornament of extra consonant, can have a meaning of their own. So these are the 30 consonants, and there are classification of the 30 consonants on the basis of their position in a word, which we will do in later classes. For now, it is only introduction to the basic sounds, which are the 30 consonants as we have it here, and then the 5 vowel with 4 apparent vowel and 1 non-apparent vowel. So to summarize the entire lesson that we have learned, we have this small verse, a small verse it is an extract from the commentary of the 30. The 30 is considered to be the considered to be the one of the 2 great texts of Tibetan sciences of linguistic. Also, so it was actually authored by one of the great Tibetan scholar who also brought about the foundation of Tibetan language as we speak today. So there was a great scholar and translator called Yangchen Drupe Dojipel. So he had wrote this commentary known as the Tree of Excellent Speech of the 30. And from this text, which is the Tree of the Excellent Speech, I have extracted this verse with 3 lines. And this 3 line will summarize everything that we have learned today. So it says, so the roots text says, the function of vowels is to clarify the sound. The clarifying agent are the 4 a, I, U, E, O, which are the 4 apparent vowels. And the consonant, such as ka, are 30 in numbers. So it says that the consonant ka and those like ka, there are 30 in numbers. So we see that whatever we have learned today, which is the classification of the basic sounds, can be summarized in these 3 lines. So this is the lesson for today. And so I have around 5 to 10 minutes for questions, if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tenzin La. I have the question on the first when you introduced about Indian and the non-apparent vowel, please, on the
Yes.
first page you just shared.
You mean, let me go here. You mean this one?
After this one. Yes, this one. So if I understand correctly, the non-apparent vowel is a.
Yes. The non-apparent vowel is ah. Yes.
Okay. And then afterwards, because the sounds that they make with this it comes from Indian language.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So,
And then afterwards, we will have like a consonant or a word which has the name by itself, the meaning by itself.
yes, which has a meaning by itself. So the other thing we must, like I have said before, is that this non-apparent vowel ah, right?
Yes.
It is with all of the 30 consonants, but we don't see that it is written differently, right? We just write, when we write the 30 consonant, we only write the form of each of those consonants. We never write the ah at the side of each consonant. But we must understand that ah is always there. So therefore, it is non-apparent in form, isn't it? That we cannot see that there is a ah written with all the consonant, right?
Yes.
And now the second one is that when we are so accustomed of saying ka, 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 that we don't know that we don't know that the actual sound that the consonant would make without the non-apparent vowel would be k, 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 you know? And only with the addition of the non-apparent vowel ah, it becomes ka. So therefore, we are taking it for granted, or in other words, we are so used to saying it with the non-apparent vowel that we don't know that the non-apparent vowel is there. So therefore, it becomes non-apparent with sound also, because we are already accustomed to understanding that the 30 consonant should be sound like that, you know. But in reality, the 30 consonant should be sound like k, k, the way it was derived from Indian alphabets, you know. But and so we never, most of the time we forget or we don't tell others that the sound we have, which is ka, ka, is with the addition of this vowel, you know.
I see. I understand now. Thank you. So it means that actually, the ga is already with the a, but the a is invisible.
The a is invisible, and we always think that ka is always ka, so we don't give the stress that it becomes ka only after addition of the vowel a.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Elena, do you have any question? I let other people ask.
Oh, no, I don't have any questions right now.
Okay. So
Thank you.
thank you. And so I will be posting another video which will have the entire sounds only with the sounds. So that video will be only this video will also be available on our class group, and there will be other video in which I will be reciting each of the basic sounds so that you can listen to it and you can repeat it, and then you can actually learn how to pronounce each of these words. Like I said, this is the foundation of not only the writing, but also the foundation of grammar and the foundation of Tibetan grammar and Tibetan reading, you know? So this is the foundation of the actual language. And by understanding this, we will know the nature of Tibetan language, and we will know what kind of language we're actually learning, you know? And through this, we'll also understand the nature of Tibetan people, which right now it may seem like, oh, how can something like this tell us about the nature of people, of a people of a country? But it is very much possible, because through these, we will actually understand, like through the language, the way language is made, we will understand what are the priority of a nation, you know?
Yeah.
So therefore, so this I will be posting it later. And so this is the first class that we had on the basic classification of sounds, which comes under the Tibetan basic of Tibetan language, which comes under the grammar. So if you have any other questions, please ask me on regarding this. If you want any more clarification, ask me to do clarification. I will do it gladly.
Yes, we will. I think we will upload our questions on the forum where there is a questions and answer.
Very
And
well.
we can
Okay.
read as well our questions and learn from it.
Okay, so wonderful. And I will, so the textbook which you see here, right, is also available on our class group. So every material which is regarding each class that we're going to have, maybe today or tomorrow we will make a certain schedule for the class for each week. And then with every classes, I will be posting the material of that class, which every one of you can download and you can learn from it. And with that, I will also upload a certain assignments for each week, which you can do by yourself. And I will leave an email address where you can send it to me, and I will go through those and I'll tell you which of those you have done correctly and which of those you have not done correctly.
Oh, this is really wonderful. So Tanzinla, after this is a grammar class.
Yep.
Then do you think we will have with you the conversation class, or how do you want to organize the class?
Yes, so the class that we are going to do after this, we will do a conversation class.
Yes.
So what I will do is that I will create a short scenario with a script, and we will learn from that script in the next class on conversation. And
Wonderful.
And so I think this will be the class for today.
Yes.
And like every class, we know that everything that we're learning here go towards the realization of wisdom and further benefit all the sentient beings. And so this is the class for today, and I will see you in the next class.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
See you later.